Hi everyone, welcome to my palm tree tutorial where I will be showing you how to make a palm tree completely from scratch. So the most important part is building everything on this base cube, which you will see me do for all three trees. I will also be using the log texture and the color pine cone for all of the trees. When you are stacking the cylinders on top of each other, you don't want to add too many because then it will become hard to move in Transform Plus. Please keep that in mind. When you do Transform Plus some of these cylinders, if you make them at a certain angle, it will no longer allow you to place another cylinder on top. So I will show you also during this video 2 ways to fix that and work around it. When you are Transform Plusing these, you want to make sure you're looking specifically at the side that ends up with that large wedge cap and make sure it lines up properly there. Throughout this video, you will also notice me experiencing some of the new map glitches where I have to undo and redo constantly to see my work. It does not disappear, it's just simply not visually on your screen. You can also fix this by leaving the game or changing plots. However, undoing and redoing is the easiest way at the time. For this first tree, I'm going for a more natural and semi-straight look, whereas the second one will be very leaning and the third one will be very wavy to give you a good difference between all of them and add realism. So here you can once again see me placing down these base cubes and then the base cylinders. The base cube once again is super important and allows you to copy, paste, transform, and basically do everything with the tree you need to. So soon here is where we're going to run into that one issue I previously talked about, which is where you can't put cylinders on top of the other ones that are already existing because their angle has changed too much. So you're about to see me run into that issue where you can no longer place the cylinder on the other one due to the transformation of the base one you're trying to place it on. At this point, where it's very early in the build and it doesn't affect anything else, I will simply undo and redo it. However, you will see me later have the same issue, and I fixed it a different way because at that point, I would have had to undo too much work, which wouldn't have been time effective. So here you're about to see me run into it once again, and this time I fixed it in a slightly different manner. I take the cylinder that I cannot place anything on, and I use Transform Plus to move it to a angle in which I can add more cylinders to it, and then I simply transform it back into place. You do want to make sure you can place tubes or cylinders on the top of your trees because that is what your decals will be attached to. And this will just cause an issue later on if you can't directly attach them to the top because then you can't copy paste them, and that will just add more work for you later on. So here I've completed all the tree bases, which is great, where a good portion will go way through. Once I get all their bases built out how I like to, I end up taking it on a medium grid and moving it down one into the ground. Because we don't want to see this base view, we want it to be hidden. However, we need it to be able to copy and paste these trees. You will also see me here for a second, experiencing that glitch issue, which I talked about earlier. So here I'm just moving the base of the trees up a little higher to make sure they line up better with the ground. In these example ones of my tutorial, it's not as relevant. However, in the ones in my plot I was building, which I originally reported, this was much more of an important feature to do. Now I am bringing them up to ground level to be able to add the roots slash trunking to it. And for this, I use various rod sizes. You can look at the two in the middle. However, I do customize it off of this as well to give myself a variety of sizes. And it's really up to you what sizes and how many sizes you would like to include. You do need to make sure that you are adding them to the base to the tree, else they will not be copyable. I do personally find it really difficult to build with the rods being the tree color, so I do keep them gray for most of it, and you'll see me later on change it, and you'll see it's kind of hard to see, and yeah. So here I am just mass placing all of these rods down just to start off with. And I will tell you right now, you can fill the whole thing and you still have to add more later. And I will tell you how to do that and make sure it's still copy pastable later in the video when we get to that part. Right here is a really great example of why you cannot move with your root slash trunk before placing it back into the ground, because this looks great here. And I'm going to move it into the ground and that no longer looks good. So you're going to want to push them down first. And once again, I just do that on a medium grid, and I always do it on a medium grid. Here I am experiencing that glitch a million times in a row. And actually, on this first tree, I'm experiencing it only partially, and I was like, where is the root? And then I realized I was glitched. Oh, I will apologize now. There are a lot of pauses in this video which were not intentional because I originally tried to do a voiceover in a different manner. Oh, that's why you see me frequently just pausing and nothing going on the screen. So here, when you will realize that you've run out of rods and you need to add more, you're going to take them and place them on the tree, specifically from the tree to the tree. And don't worry about making it a little long because you'd rather have it longer than shorter. And you can always hide how long it is underneath the ground. And if I was any good at editing, I would have set this up throughout the roots of the other trees to make it easier on you guys, but this is my first video edit ever, so For this leaning tree, the roots are a bit different from the other two. The other two have more of a straight base, so they need a lot less specificness in your placement. They just need to be angled towards the trunk. However, in this one, I suggest looking at actual photos of trees that were at this angle, and you'll see these roots are more accurate for those kind of trees at those angles. And on this last tree, you can really see me start caring. Honestly, this was like my ninth tree of the day. And I just wanted to be over and done with it. Honestly, I'm not gonna like lie here. I had previously recorded this video, and because I was trying to record it while streaming on multiple platforms, it really just became very glitchy visually. So I had to then obviously go back and record this one. And so I was so done by this point with making the bases of these trees. So thankfully now all the tree bases are done completely. Woo. So now I can move on to adding the decals. So there is a very specific order in which you have to add these decals. And I will be explaining that when they do pop up here in a second. I will be placing them on a clear cube. Oh, each of these will have 4 decals, so you have to connect them properly, or else moving them will be a nightmare. For myself, I find it easiest to work in neon colors because if you make it in like a natural color, it will just get really hidden, really hard to see. So I usually have my cubes all the same neon color, but for this video, I will be explaining it. Oh, I use different colors. So the pink one has the blue one on top of it. You can just move the blue one up. The yellow is stacked on the red. Red will then get stacked onto the pink, then moved. So everything is on the pink one, and that is the base of the whole thing. So you only need to grab that pink one to move the whole decal. So I'll be putting in 2 palm trees. However, I'm only going to use one for this video. Please do not feel like you need to pause this video to grab the decal IDs. They are in the description for you in a written manner, and you should be able to just copy paste those right into the game and make it really easy on yourself. So for myself, I'm going to be using the palm tree on the left just because I personally prefer it, and you're just going to see me lapping it right on those cubes. Now I am going to make them the largest size of a decal can be, which is 10 by 10. And this is going to look super, super messy at first. So do not worry. So I'm pretty sure very few people could figure out how to line these up from this puzzle mess of a look. I end up moving the cubes even farther apart so then I can see them one by one connecting. Oh, now that we can actually see them as individuals, it's going to be much easier to move them. And you will see the decals clipping in and out of my view field because I'm so zoomed in at times. This is completely normal. So you pretty much just need to eyeball them connecting. There is no other way to do it. Well, now that that is fully done, I'm going to make the cubes a more natural color for this tree so they can blend in even better. And I will be placing 3 of these total onto each palm tree. So you can add more or less than 3. It's all up to you. So I like to place all three of mine at the start, and then I will just transform them out with the big grid. Then don't get in my way, but I want to make sure they connect to that top cylinder. And finding it later once one of the decals is on is super hard, and then finding the base cube to then move it to is very difficult. This will definitely help you out in the long run. So for the additional ones, you will see me rotating them in various ways to give it a more realistic look. This is not something you have to do, but it is something I really recommend to help it. Right here, you can see there's kind of a gap between the tree and the decal, which I end up fixing by using a cone because it just looks like a natural connection from the tree to the plant topping. At this point, I had built so many of these, I just wanted to be done with it. So I just grabbed the top cylinder and moved it over to all the other trees, which actually works really well. And it is a great time saver. However, you can do them manually if you do want a more unique look for each of your trees, or you could rotate them before placing them down on those other trees. So here's a great 360 look of all the trees put together and fully done. Each tree does vary in cost. However, mine ended up being 22 to about 23K. And here you're just going to see me putting them all together to create a nice little theme to showcase the palm trees themselves and to create the thumbnail for this video. I think adding a hammock or a swing to the leaning tree would also be a super cute idea. However, I just really didn't want to do it at this point. I was kind of done with this little project, but that is a great idea for you guys to add to yours. So this is the first tutorial I've ever recorded where I'm doing a voiceover and building it on screen, which is very new to me. So I do apologize about video quality and just some of the weird parts of the video where it freezes. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up or a like, maybe subscribe if you'd like to. I should have more videos coming out in the future. I will also take a second here to shamelessly promote my Discord server where I have written tutorials back before I used to record them and just a ton of helpful tips, decals, and more. So if you'd like to join that, please do. It's all linked in my account. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video really helped you. And please let me know in the comments if there was anything that was confusing or I could have done better.